Is equating it is Osiris as God, Horus is the sun, and he's making an analogy to Emmanuel, Yashu, and Jesus and Horus. How do you feel about that analogy that this person is kind of making there?
Okay, so um, that person is close.
Okay.
Okay, so only because the Trinity story is all about that, right? So of
Right.
course, all right. So he's utilizing that as to explain it. The term Emmanuel just literally means God with us.
Okay.
Okay, that's what the term means. And then he's saying Yeshua, or AKA Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So let's break this down.
Yeah.
So the term Yeshua or Yeshua, uh, that term does not mean Jesus.
Okay.
Okay. The term for Yeshua in Hebrew is actually Joshua.
Okay.
So it's not Jesus. And so those are two different names there. I see people want to connect them to each other,
Right.
but they're actually two different names.
Okay.
So I can see what that person is saying, but yeah, that's kind of I can see how that's relevant
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking about the Trinity stories. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's an interesting analogy. It seems like to me like with these two belief systems, there's an attempt to kind of merge these two together. That there's an association. Is there much association? I mean, you talked about. I think we talked about Gab being mentioned in the Bible the last time we met. How
Hmm.
much? How much of what we would call Kemetic spirituality do we see in the Bible?
A lot.
A lot.
Yep,
Okay.
a lot.
Enough that this might be a strong basis for it, or is it just more stories being shared?
Well, I mean, the whole idea behind the Kemetic history has filled in a lot of blanks
Mm-hmm.
for the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you've got some pretty direct stuff. I mean, you've got the story of Moses,
Yeah.
yeah, the story of Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
All those take place in Kemet.
Yeah.
Okay, so or relative to the story of Kemet. So you're talking about the whole idea of the Jewish people there. Okay, actually came from the Abrahamic traditions, of course, is actually rooted in Kemet. So, for an example, when you're talking about uh, where they were, I guess they're saying that the Pharaoh Masud gave that land to Abraham and his wife Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, but that takes place in Kemet. Okay, so again, a lot of those areas are clearly Kemetic or ancient Egyptian land.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, it's huge. Proverbs, and all those different types of things. It goes right back to the new suit.
Yeah.
So a lot of that we are. So all of these things are connected. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. How much have you personally read the Bible?
Me,
Yeah.
I have about three or four versions of it.
Okay. Because Baal is also mentioned in the Bible as well, right?
Yeah, but remember, Baal is a Canaanite
Right.
deity.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh huh.
so remember now that the story of the Canaanites is very interesting because, of course, that would be okay. So one of the capitals of the Canaanite country was the city of Gath.
Say again.
Gath, G
Gath.
A
Okay.
yeah
Okay.
T H Gath.
Okay.
That would be the story or the place where Goliath is, or the
Okay.
place of the giants they call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, it's huge over there. So of course the Canaanite religion, but again, um, it's a very interesting story. I have many different versions.
Okay.
Many different versions. I think about three or four versions.
Mm-hmm.
One of my versions I really like the
Mm-hmm.
most, and I have in my library, is called the Book of Yahweh.
Okay.
So I have the Book of Yahweh here, and so you mind if I get it for a
No,
second?
absolutely. Please go right ahead.
Okay. You have the book if you got one.
Yes, I see that. Okay.
And so, yeah, so I pretty much read this. This is it's
Man, I
pretty
mean,
big.
how big is this book, man?
It's huge. It's huge,
Yeah,
man.
this is massive,
So
man.
yeah, so yeah, this is one of
Yeah.
my this is one of my books in my library.
Yeah, okay. You repping it. Hey, you repping it hard there, bro.
Well, I keep that because, in my opinion, a saber has to understand multiple disciplines.
Right. Right.
One of the disciplines is the discipline to read.
Right. Absolutely.
You must create this discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So we think because, we say, okay, I don't read, that, or I don't read this. No, because our history is in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We just don't know that. But when you
Right.
start to understand this terminology, understand this information,
Mm-hmm.
then you can understand African people.
Right.
Because because it's clearly in this book. It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, this book
That's
has
a
got, I don't
massive
know.
book, man.
Yeah, I don't know. This book is about. It's well over. I mean, it's well over 1,000
Yeah.
over in here, right?
Uh-huh.
But they reference book. They reference the name in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
They reference the names in that.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got these names. Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not Isaiah. Isaiah is
Right.
one of the examples.
Right.
Well, okay, Meteth Owa.
Mm-hmm.
These are actually Hebrew names in this book that I have, but it's
Right.
pretty big.
Okay.
My point is that this is rooted in the Kemetic code.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Man, that's kind of, okay. But the two belief systems still fundamentally are very different, right? Just in the way that they view a lot of the world, right?
Well, of course they do. I mean, when you're talking about, Israel today,
Mm-hmm.
all those places, over what they call today the Middle East, that's all ancient Canaanite country.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And they
know,
had a lot of crossover. Like, there were Canaanite deities who were represented in Kemet, right, and back forth, right?
well, I mean, you have to remember if you're talking about in certain time periods, it all
Yeah.
depends
Yeah.
because remember, there's a lot of intermarrying,
Right.
lots of things going on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
All depends on what particular I would have to say golden age you're referring to.
Right. Right.
There's over 30 dynasties, right? So we're
Yeah.
talking about all types of things that happen there.
Yeah. And sometimes when people intermarried, they brought their culture and their
Of
beliefs
course.
with them. Because recently I just, I did an entry on Anat, who was listed as a Canaanite deity, but also is mentioned in Kemetic mythology.
Well, yeah, because remember now you're talking about, okay, you're talking about the place of Nimrod.
Right.
Well, Nimrod was a Cushite.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, so yeah, so you're talking about, and then we have, of course, you're talking about, a religion. Talk about Gilgamesh. You're talking about,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, all of this is okay. This ancient Kush.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what we've done is we've just dissected Africa into different places,
Right.
and we call it this, and we call it that, and we call
Mm-hmm.
like you would a cow, right? This is a leg. This is a right. But yeah, all of it, man, is Africa. So what I'm saying is, it's like yes, but there was a lot of interchanging of culture. But all idea behind what I'm explaining is you have to understand information like that.
Right. Right.
Okay, because remember, it's not about what's inside; it's other pieces that could connect you back to the original place.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the book I mentioned to you is a connection to Kemet.
Right. There's
It's
bits of its history in there, right?
Well, there's a lot of history in it because back in this particular time, a lot of okay, let me just give you one example.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
One example is before there was actually, they said, okay, let's just use this for an example. They said that, the parting of the Red Sea, a lot of the Hebrews came across rather to the plan or the place they want to call home,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But they had been in Kemet for a very long time.
Right.
Okay, we talk about the golden calf. We
Yes.
talk about all that stuff. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. That's Hathor, right?
See,
You know what
okay,
time it
thank
is.
you. Yeah, I said that a long time ago, and I read that
Okay,
story. I'm like,
okay,
given where those people were coming from at that time, their exodus, that golden calf, that golden
okay,
cow was Hathor.
right. And so you're talking about the place or the tent of meeting.
Mm-hmm.
They have these different. That's the priests of Aaron were these hetnechers that came from ancient Kemet.
Right. Right.
Okay, so they learned the ways of understanding the priesthood.
Okay.
So all of the things that they do, all the practices and all
Mm-hmm.
those things, right? You see the talits
Mm-hmm.
because I have a couple of them, right? I
Yeah.
ain't got one that I never see. When you have a talit, you go into the tent of meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That came from ancient Kemet.
Right.